Good afternoon, good morning. The internet is a very funny world. No fixed time, no fixed greeting. So, good morning if it is morning wherever you are. Good afternoon if it is afternoon wherever you are. Good evening wherever you are. I'm your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. If you can see me, please state your name and wherever you are watching from. State your name and your location. You don't know how it encourages us. You don't know how it makes the broadcast worth it. Two of you are there. I need to know your names and where you are. Thank you so much. 5 of you are there. Dr. Charles Apoki is waiting for you. We'll have a serious family meeting. Serious family meeting. We'll have a serious family meeting. I'm so glad at what is happening. I'm able to interact with people from all over the world. Able to interact with people from different countries, from the United States, from Canada, from Ghana, from the UK, from Kigali, Rwanda, South Africa, from Nigeria, and all over. It gives me so much pleasure that the dreams I had about influencing a new generation is coming to pass. And the good thing about my listening audience, very few of them are above 65. A host of them are within the age bracket that still have opportunities to improve on themselves and their situations. So we have 6 of you there who want to know where you are reaching me from. So glad to speak to you. I went to church. You know, I don't pastor a church, so my pastor preached. I want to speak on value, how to increase your value. How to increase your value. The first thing is, what is value? Value refers to importance. Value refers to the alternative people are ready to forego to get a thing or associate with an individual or get your services and your products. So value is an opportunity cost. Somebody has to forego something to associate with you. Some of you watching me here now, there are other things you're supposed to have done. Forgo something to associate with you, pay for your services, pay for your goods. It is an opportunity cost. Values, on the other hand, represent what we hold dear, what we treasure in our personal lives, our personal values, and then what society values. Like in Nigeria, the greatest values, our values center around money and power. Finish. Whether the devil gives you the power or you steal to get the power, you steal to get the money, most times we don't care. And that's why such societies are backwards. There are British values, there are American values, there are French values. There are values in South Africa. After apartheid, there was the value of racial equality, social justice, and integration. In Rwanda, after the bad past, so I was talking about Rwanda, they need to reintegrate the country, develop the country, and de-emphasize our divisions. So, in America is liberty, the freedom to exercise and live your life under God. In God we trust. I don't know if they are still keeping those values. In France, it's freedom to enjoy yourself and be yourself, egalitarianism. In the UK, it is more of conservatism. So, those are values. And for you to have value, you must understand that you need to develop personal values, and your personal values need to meet the values of the society wherein you are located or you are dealing with. Like now, the internet is a different society. We are netizens, and the values of the internet is netism. So, how do you increase your value? I have passed through from the bottom of the social ladder to reach a level of nobility. As a medical doctor, it's a noble profession. How do you increase your value? I remember that I used to reside in the slums of Okere, the ghetto, Okere, near the government reserve area where the elites lived. And immediately I graduated as a medical doctor. I was housed in that same area where the colonial masters lived, where the elite lived. I was quartered there. And I was working in the hospital. My value just increased in the eyes of those who were the elites in the ghetto where I came from. So I acquired status through learning. So you can acquire status through education. You can acquire status through acquisition of skills. If you know how to play music very well, Victor Waifo played music, and Yvonne Chaka Chaka played music, Maria Makeba played music, James Brown played music, Elton John played music. You can acquire status through talent. Muhammad Ali through boxing, Picasso through painting, Michelangelo through art. So you can acquire status through skills. Kalashnikov, the man that made the AK-47, acquired relevance through his engineering skills. Thomas Edison, that was said to be dull in school, acquired relevance through his discoveries, his patents. So you can, let me go through that. You acquire skills, you acquire learning, education, you develop your talent, and then you acquire political status. If you acquire political status, you can increase your value. But you need to have a product. If you have a product that adds value to people's lives, then you become a man of value. Your value will increase. As I was walking past, I went to buy a hand file to file our machetes for our farm. As I was going, people were greeting me. Why? Because of my radio station program that is benefiting about 11 million people in this part of the country. Some others were telling me that they follow me on social media and they are so grateful for what I am doing. People I never expected. So, values. What are you contributing to society positively? Positively. Whatever, if you contribute to society positively, then your value will increase. Then the next thing is, what do the people really admire? What do they admire? If you dance for a blind man, no matter how well you dance, you are not making value. If you sing for a deaf man, no matter what you do, you are not creating value. So the people around you sometimes might determine the value they attach to you. If I give $100 bill and a 1,000 naira note to a young boy in Nigeria that does not know the value of $100 bill, he most likely will pick the 1,000 naira that he's used to. So, what is the level of the development of the mind of the persons? When I started ministry, I had always loved the teaching aspect of ministry. But I was in an environment where people loved, and a generation where people loved power move, take it there, somebody here, this there. So I told God, I said, for people to pay attention to what I am saying, let these teachings I do be accompanied with power, with the demonstration of the power of the Holy Spirit. And so, as I was preaching and teaching, there was massive manifestation of the power of the Holy Spirit. There was the demonstration of the word of knowledge. There was the demonstration of various giftings of the Holy Spirit. So it attracted people to my ministry. And as a result of that, they started paying attention to the teaching ministry. And that's how the fame spread. So you must know what people, their psychology. If you want to give somebody treatment in Africa, where the part I come from, if it is a blood medication, it must be reddish in color or dark brown in color to resemble blood. If not, it might not sell. The people in Africa, particularly in my area, they prefer injections to tablets, even if the tablets will give the same results. The seriousness of their treatment is dependent on whether you have put an IV line on their body, whether they need it or not. So some people can abuse these psychological inclinations, social inclinations. Tata Corporation produced a car called Nano, and they said it's the poor man's car. India has been producing cars, the Ambassador, and people buy Ambassador, but when they said it was the poor man's car, people did not buy it because people who bought cars because they wanted to say, make a statement, a social statement, that they had arrived at a level of affluence. I remember the story I read about a bridge that was built somewhere in South America, and they wanted people to pay for the cost of the bridge. And they said that poor people will not pay for the bridge, to cross the bridge, and rich people have to pay to cross the bridge. And so the poor decided, how do they distinguish between the rich and the poor? Then very few poor people wore shoes. Only rich people wore shoes. So the rich, not wanting to pay, they would trek near the bridge, put their shoes in their bags, far away from the checkpoint, and then from the toll gate, and then they would trek across as poor people. While poor people went to buy shoes to wear to cross the bridge so that they will not say they are poor. So you need to understand the psychology of people to create value. So there are personal values you need to cultivate. One of those values is excellence. Excellence. I wrote a book, Attaining Excellence. It's to become outstanding. I said somewhere that when your mates are sleeping, wake up. When your mates wake up, sit up. If they sit up, stand up. If they stand up, stand aside from them. If they stand aside, become outstanding. When you have this ability to keep exceeding expectation, you will create value. One of the things that helped me was that very early in life, my parents and my teachers and I identified the capacity of my mind. And so, once I saw that people treasured that in my generation, I started developing my mind the more. And I was in a mud house, a house made of clay, with chickens staying under my bed. But I decided to read a lot with the lantern, just hurricane lamp. I read Tolstoy, I read Dennis Whitley, I read Roots, I read Awake magazines, I read The Revelation, I read Abdul Rushin, I read all kinds of books. I read all kinds of books. So, I read all kinds of books. If you are seeing me online, please don't call me now. I read all kinds of books, and that provided knowledge for me. And that increase in content in my life made it possible for me to excel beyond my contemporaries. Even in medical school, I did not read only my medical books. I ensured that I read other materials outside my medical books. That was why I was able to debate for the university and debate for my hall, and we won the inter-hall debate trophy. So get to identify what is unique about you, improve on it, be your greatest competitor with yourself. Don't feel satisfied with a level of performance. As much as you admire these videos, I am the most critical person of myself. Most times I don't like listening to myself, even though I also celebrate myself. I always wish I could do it better. So compete with yourself, improve on yourself on a daily basis consistently. So improvement, excellence. Then love humanity. Think beyond yourself. Always ask yourself what you can do to make somebody else's life better within your resources, within the laws, and within your own values. Personally, I don't like begging. So I don't like people who beg me. I have enough common sense to know what is right and what is wrong and what I'm supposed to do. So I prefer hard-working people. I like to support hard-working people, because most people who beg, when you give them assistance, they don't even value it. So develop the ability to love humanity, contribute to humanity, develop core values that are celebrated universally. Integrity, be a man of integrity. Keep your promise. Keep to time. Be faithful to your spouse. I've told you here and severally, I don't do adultery. The Bible says that adultery will reduce you to the cost of a loaf of bread. So I was saying that I don't do adultery. Be a man of integrity. I don't like owing. There's a man I buy tires for my school vehicles. I am going to pay you by 12 o'clock. Call me by 10 to remind me. 12 o'clock I will pay. Since I started business in 1988, I have never owed workers' salaries. 1988 till date is a long time. I make sure I pay my workers regularly. It might not be much, but they must get their money. We keep December salary as early as September because we will pay October, we will pay November salary in December, first week of December, and we must pay December salary by on the 15th of December so that people can have money to buy things for their children and themselves during Christmas. I don't owe workers. It's a principle. I don't owe. And I don't borrow from banks. So, have that self-respect. The next thing is that I am not desperate for anything. Once you are desperate, you will lose value. I was about to board an aircraft. A church invited me. And the people, I don't know what they did. My name was not on the manifest, and I needed to buy a ticket. So I called for the younger brother of my lawyer to bring money. And the ticket clerk said, "Are you not worried? Are you not worried?" I said, "No, I am not worried. If I don't fly, I'll go back to my house to go and do something else." So don't be desperate. Because when you are desperate to associate with people, desperate to make money, desperate to get power, desperate to get popular, you will lose your value. Somebody invited me somewhere to come and speak, and I asked the person who collects me from the airport at Abuja. I said, I don't know. "Oh, you're inviting me from my house to Abuja. You don't know who will collect me from the airport, who will pick me up from the airport? Please confirm that in 10 minutes. Because in 10 minutes time, if you don't confirm that, I will turn back home." In 10 minutes time, he said that we didn't make arrangement for any person. I told them, "I am not any person. I am Dr. Charles Apoki." He said, "Find your way to Rockview Hotel." I told him I stayed in Rockview Hotel 2 weeks back with my son when he came from Europe. And I've stayed in Rockview Hotel before. So ensure that there's somebody to pick me. Didn't make the arrangement. The flight was landing. I was going back home. Abraham told the king of Sodom, he said, "Keep your tithes so that it won't be that you made me." So the ability to walk away from some free meals, from some sponsored luxuries that will reduce your value, please walk away from them. If not, if you are desperate, you will compromise some of your values and no person will respect you. So, try as much as possible not to be desperate. When you are desperate, you will be greedy. When you are desperate, you will compromise. When you are desperate, you will steal. When you are desperate, you will owe people. So don't be desperate. You must not get some things. Even when you don't have, maintain yourself. Maintain self-respect. There were times in Ogeli here we didn't have enough. I did not go and meet some of the so-called big preachers. And so till today, they respect me. They respect me. You must not have it. You must not wear. Don't go and borrow a shoe for a ceremony. If you don't have it, leave it. When you reach a certain position in life, that's what you should be doing. Don't be desperate and don't behave as if the world will end if you don't do whatever. I don't call people. I don't call churches. If I preach in your church, immediately I'm leaving. I will not call you if you don't call me. And usually when they want me to come and preach again, they will say, "You've not been calling us." Yeah, you have my phone number. Call me. I don't run a church. Immediately I start calling you, you will think it is because I want to preach in your church. Don't go to ceremonies where you are not playing a major role. Don't go to events where you are not playing a major role, because you will be treated shabbily. They are going to inaugurate our president now. Why must I go to Abuja if I'm not invited, if I'm not a special guest? And even if you are invited, don't overstay. I went with my lawyer and one other of his schoolmates to go and speak in a presidential declaration of a presidential candidate, a governor. I got there, the very nice man, he introduced me to this commissioner of this, professor that. And then I stood somewhere, he brought me up to the podium, said I should sit close to him. They gave me a few minutes to speak and I spoke. The place was electrified. Then we came down and we went to the reception hall. And my lawyer told me, let us move at once, now that we could still get home on time. And we moved. He said, don't stay until you start asking them, where will we sleep? How do we eat? No, he said, move now. So we moved. I had nearly gotten to my town when he called around 7 p.m. Where are you? I said that we are close to home. Oh, Peter Obi saw you speaking, and he was in the presidential lounge waiting to go to Abuja, and he called me and asked me, who is that man? I've gotten home. And until he called me again to Abuja to make his declaration, I sat with him in his bedroom, sat with him in his car, in the back seat with him, got there. When I finished doing what I wanted to do, as I was going to board my flight, I knew if he did not call me, I will not call him again. So the simple reason is that very early in life, develop financial independence. Manage your resources well in such a way that you won't need people to pay your house rent, to pay your children's school fees, and to feed yourself. And so my children respect me because I don't depend on them to feed me. Whoever relates with me knows that I don't depend on them to feed me. If you need to have value in your family, try as much as possible to have financial independence. Even if your wife and you have joint businesses, try as much as possible to have a private source of income that you and your wife will not be broke at the same time. It is tragic, shameful, and disgraceful if a husband and a wife are broke at the same time. When your wife wants to go and borrow money from somebody, she will first abuse you before, you know how my husband is, you know his job, you know they are not paying them well, you know he's an only child, you know Dr. Apoki is the only person remaining, you know he doesn't have brother, he doesn't. What is that? So make sure you are not broke at the same time with your wife. Ensure that you do something and work hard to have something to give to her if she needs money. Make sure that if you belong to a class or a church or whatever, that you have some level of financial independence that you can contribute your quota. The Bible says that there was a small city that was invaded by a bigger city, a bigger kingdom. And a wise man, a poor wise man, brought out a solution that saved the city. But that the poor man was forgotten because the wisdom of the poor is despised. If you are the eldest child in a family, ensure you have financial independence. Have some level of financial leverage. If not, your last born, the last child in the family, if he has the money, he will dictate the pace. and your family meeting can continue without you. If you are in the church committee, don't just be spiritual alone. Have something to contribute. Margaret Thatcher once said that the Good Samaritan not only had good intentions, he had the means, the ability, and the capacity to make his good intentions made manifest. The priest crossed over. The Levite crossed over. So as much as possible. That was why I worked hard. And God helped me. I sold second-hand clothing as a medical doctor in area market in Aba. I sold drips. I imported cars. I would drive from Lagos throughout the night to reach Aba by 5:30 a.m. And then I would sleep for a while, go and do surgery till evening. I imported fish meal with my friend, and I was selling fish meal. We opened a fashion home. I was going to rural communities to go and carry patients, do surgeries for them, take them back. I wanted to have financial independence. And my wife will always say, let us build a foundation now so that if we don't want to go and preach, we can stay in our houses, in our house. That's how to get value. And my bishop then, Bishop BCA, used to make a statement that I held very strongly. He said, young men will just come, my Lord Bishop, I have a message for your people. I want to come and bless your people, as if he himself that is there is not blessing the people. And I never ever did that, and has never ever done that. You will not have value. Because over-availability reduces value. I've said it over, that water is less important than air. You can't live without air for up to 3 hours. I'm just exaggerating. But you can live without water for 3 days. You won't die. But nobody buys air because air is too available. Diamonds are expensive because you don't see them on the surface. That's why I'm so sorry for our young girls who come to TikTok. The only thing they show is breast. The only thing they show is bum. The only thing they do is to gesticulate as if they are copulating. You are stupid. You are empty. You are without value. You are a nuisance. You are a cheap girl. You are a sex commodity. Thank God Elon Musk will soon remove you people from the market. He's producing sex companions now. When the African woman, all you have to do is to shake your buttocks and start gesticulating as if you are copulating and shake your breast. Is something wrong with you? There are cheap breasts all over the place. Cheap buttocks without license, without number plates, all over the place, without NAFDAC number. Cheap, lousy breasts all over the place. The ones all over the place. Somebody wants to see a woman not only with a pretty face, but braids. Product Ogoze Okonje Iweala is not by the length of the attachment to her hair or the nudity, it is her braids. Watai Mangari, I went to look at her office in Nairobi. It wasn't because of her beauty, her braids. Golda Meir once said that, thank God I am not a beautiful woman. It gave me the opportunity to concentrate on my inner strength. So all this over fashion by black women, thank God we are back. The maximum you can do is to become a baby factory and a milk industry. I value my wife, all the houses we have built, including this one. In fact, the design you are seeing behind me, it was our concept. The tiles you are seeing, they are our concept. And so I value her and I treasure her. Beyond having babies and showing breasts and showing buttocks, no. The young girl in Nigeria today, they showed one Mrs. Showemimo. She flew Boeing 737, I don't know, flew it solo. A black woman wants to fly solo around the world. That's what we are talking about. Not buttocks, breasts, no. Go beyond that. And there is something happening on social media. But young African males are reducing the value of womanhood through that cucumber prank, that the male phallus is a symbol of attraction to women. And that's what you want to show. Why don't you become more creative? Must you reduce our women to sex objects? Must you reduce the black woman? Oh, during slavery, they suffered them enough. In the traditional pre-slavery and pre-colonial era, they suffered them enough. Womanhood has been denigrated enough. Let's start promoting womanhood, excellence of womanhood. See them in sports where they are doing well. Let's promote those values. If you want to show this Diame, there's one girl, Diame, whether she's from France or a black girl, it is only her buttocks you are concentrating the camera on. Why don't you concentrate on her jump? Tell us her character, her discipline. Why must we reduce black women to objects of entertainment? There is more in the African woman, the black woman, so much strength in the black woman, so much intelligence in the black woman, that we should stop concentrating on her physique alone. Let's concentrate on her brains and her spirituality. And let's advertise such qualities. And the women to help themselves. So, value. Now, you must know how to price yourself. Don't price yourself too high. You might scare people. And don't price yourself too low. People will take you for granted. If any person, including pastors, treats me like trash, I make sure they pay cash when they need my services. You don't mess up with me. Then you must draw boundaries. You see, if you are somebody like me that mentors people, if you are somebody like me that is very funny, if you are somebody like me that is easily accessible, the tendency is for people to want to mess up around you. There's something I found out in social media. Most people who don't have any profile picture of themselves, they don't make reasonable posts. If you go to their profile, schools attended, you won't see anything. Place of residence, you won't see anything. They act as trolls on social media and make stupid comments to irritate people. And sometimes those who know you, who maybe are from your tribe, are from your faith or other faith, and those who think that there are some of them who think that because they are resident overseas, that we in Africa are dummies. If you try it near me, I devastate your mind. I suffocate you with knowledge. I usually come very hard on people. And the few that tried it, I came very hard on them. And then they withdrew. And then every person relating with me knew that I'm an intellectual militant. It includes the school. Parents will come and want to mess up. There is a line I have drawn. You cross it, I expel your child. You come there to harass my teachers, I expel your child. If you fail, I expel you. If you can't pass and behave well, I expel you. If you are teaching for me, you mess up, I sack you. And my daughter is also there, and she has that character trait. You go and mess up near her, she will deal with you, you will be surprised. The same thing with my wife. So that's how to create value. If not, people will mess you up. If you use your Mercedes to carry firewood or carry hay or whatever, people will come and beg you to use it to carry dead body or carry blocks. So it's the way you present yourself that makes people respect you. Price yourself well. Coca-Cola, a woman was showing on television. Coca-Cola has 3 sizes of drinks in Nigeria. There's the 50 cl, there's another size, and there is a smaller size for different levels of the market. Try and behave that way. have a way to relate with the poor. When I went to Ewu to speak yesterday, it was a farmers multipurpose cooperative society. They told me I should speak in my local dialect, Urobo. So I spoke in my language and spoke Pidgin English, Wari English, and they understood me and they were very happy. When I go to the university environment to speak, I change my intonation, my diction, and my phonation to match that environment. So be adjustable, but be effective in whatever you do. It is in fact effectiveness, results-oriented lifestyle that increases value. The next thing is be distinctive. Be distinctive. I pray a lot, but you will never hear me pray. I pray silently and I pray in the spirit. Paul said, I prayed more than you all. But he was not shouting. So be distinctive. The next thing is that as you see the way I do my stuff, I try to be unique. Be unique. Present my facts, my messages, my ideas in a unique way. I have tried to demystify a lot of things. Demystify being a medical doctor. Demystify being an anointed person. Demystify being destroy the yoke of thinking because I am black, then I don't know what I am worth. Or the fact that I live in a small town and I don't reside in Lagos or Abuja or London, that I cannot be a global citizen. I have proved that wrong. And it comes from a contrarian thinking. When you think from the opposite direction, people will see what you are seeing that they have not seen. I give you an example. The woman that was at the well of Sychar in John chapter 4, she has had 5 husbands. Yes. Do we know whether she was just unfortunate, that it could be the men in that city that were bad men, and that she was too loving and people were taking advantage of her? So the usual opinion is to say that she was a bad woman. If she was that bad woman, how come she was able to go to the city and every person in the village or the village ran with her to come to the well? She must have had some level of influence and reputation in that place. So I will not dismiss her as being guilty or being a wayward woman, because if somebody drank gin and lime, and drank gin and lemon, and drank gin and orange juice, and drank gin and one thing and got drunk, it is not the lemon, it is not the orange juice, it is not whatever that was an ice that made the ice that made him drunk. It is the gin. So it could be that men in that community are very unfaithful men, and the woman was a loving and simplistic person. So I reason from the opposite direction. When you pass a road frequently passed by others, you can't pick a snail. So when I go from the other direction, I see things in another viewpoint. And when I bring them out, I have a unique, a distinctive. So then don't blend into the crowd. I don't wear things that are raining. I don't wear raining things. I don't blend into my culture. You won't see me dressed like, I won't go and take a chieftaincy title. I won't go and become a bishop. You see, every person, every small Tom, Dick, and Harry in Nigeria is bishop. And they are not big shots. You must be a big shot before you become a bishop. taking titles. I don't run after titles. I am Dr. Charles Apoki. I'm an ordained clergyman. So I could add the Reverend Doctor, but the Reverend Doctor has become too popular. I was invited to go and speak to, they said they are a college of doctors. I was confused. I got there, I saw people who could not spell their father's names well because they gave them honorary doctorate degrees. I have an honorary doctorate degree in theology, doctor of theology. I could be writing doctor. No, it's not necessary. That one that I read is enough. So, be distinctive. Today as I was going to church, I trekked. And people saw me, they were waving, discussions followed and all that. I went to buy a file to file my machetes tomorrow, and I was trekking. Somebody saw me, I went and greeted the person, left, and I saw the girl ask, is that the Dr. Apoki? Is that the doctor that owns Spectra? You know, I'm different from the typical black pastor here with his boga. No. I can afford anything. I qualify for it. In fact, today people give them to me. They give the cars to me. They pay for my luxury. But it is not an instrument of intimidation. It should make you more humble. So value. So cultivate value for yourself. Respect. I don't eat in public. I'm sorry for the break in transmission. I don't eat in public. I don't drink in public. I don't join. If I'm in a WhatsApp group, I don't make comments. I don't discuss. I'm paid to talk. Why must I talk anyhow? I don't attend meetings. I stay on my own. The ability to stay on your own will increase value. And when you gather all these things together, you become a worthy man. Jesus said, when you enter a city, look for a worthy man. People who don't have worth won't have value for you. He who has nothing to lose will help you lose everything you have. He who has nowhere he is going to will help you waste your time. Make sure whatever you do, you associate with people of value, your value will increase. I spoke to 2 oil companies. One behaved like trash. The other celebrated. I signed books for them. They stood up and clapped, and they paid more and treated me with greater dignity and value. Select your friends. Select your crowd. I remain your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. God bless you. Remember, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Number 2, share it with people so that they can benefit. I want to thank Oluchi. Oluchi, thank you so much. For those of you, if you have questions, you can ask me on 0+234 7052136763. Again, +234 7052136763. And then you can book an appointment to call, and then we will answer you. You can send your questions concerning this lecture, and then the book, Value the Currency of Life, is available in our online bookstore, petrapublications.com, P-E-T-R-A, Petra, publications, one word.com. You can order them. If you have any challenges, send me a message. I didn't see where whoever was watching me. I don't know where you are watching from, but maybe in the comment section you can do that. But I've seen some of you here. I really appreciate you all. You are the reason why I am doing this. And please, let's get more subscriptions. Encourage others to subscribe, to join this channel. God bless you. We are a family. God bless you. I'm your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki.